to episode 50 of Destination Talk. I'm John Paz.
And I am Harry, and we are coming to you once again from Stellar 19 Studios, located at 750 Route 34 in Matawan, New Jersey. Shout out to our show sponsor, the Academy in Garwood, New Jersey. To check them out, you can go to their website at academysportsnj.com. Well, my partner, we've made it to 50.
50 episodes.
50
crazy.
episodes. And we are honored and thrilled today to have on a very special guest, Westfield, New Jersey native, University of Pennsylvania, three-time All-American wrestler, CJ Composto. CJ, how are you? Welcome to episode 50, a very special episode for us here. How's everything going today?
It's going great. I appreciate being on the podcast. Great surprise to know it's episode number 50. So I'm looking forward to talking to you guys.
We didn't want to let the cat out of the bag too soon on that one. We wanted to make sure just have it be a surprise for you as well.
Yeah, adding some pressure to this one. This is big time. 50.
Yeah, it's a big one. But being a three-time All-American, I think you can handle pressure. So I think you got this pretty good.
Appreciate it.
So CJ, for those who don't know a little bit about you, can you kind of fill in some gaps and just introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, I'm a wrestler. Been wrestling my whole life. Started when I was 5, growing up through the Westfield PAL programs. My dad was, coach through those programs, and then got to middle school, still wrestling with Westfield. Had a couple coaches, Colin McKay, Ethan Powell. Went to Westfield High School under Coach Kurz, and from there ended up going to Penn, and just really been wrestling ever since. And yeah.
Oh, it sounds great. So we're going to jump right in. So when people hear Division I wrestler, three-time All-American, they certainly see the results. But what is something about the journey people would not completely understand?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I would say before the result, it more comes down to your goals or your desires and what you want, because not everyone comes into college wrestling wanting to be an All-American or wanting to be a national champ. I think that's okay too. So I think it's about setting your goals and something that you can actually get behind and believe. So I was never the one to set goals that I didn't really believe in. Everything I kind of did throughout my career, I really believed I was going to do it. And the things I didn't believe I was going to do, they didn't end up happening. And so, now that my college career is over, never became national champ, I think I'm kind of realizing I was never able to form that belief of becoming a national champ. And so that's why, that's what I got. And so I think everyone's different, and not everyone has the same goals. Some people have bigger goals, world champ, NCAA champ. Some people All-American, some people NCAA qualifier, and it's about aiming as big as you can while still believing in that goal. Because, if you set a goal that you don't have belief in, you're not going to accomplish it. So, yeah, just being smart about aiming big and making sure you're still able to have that self-belief.
Well, I think something that both of you guys can completely understand. You go into a tournament, 33 wrestlers, but only one can really stand at the top of it. But there's still 7 other spots on the podium, and both of you guys were able to do that, during your careers. And I still think that that's something worth being happy and feeling good about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, feel good.
CJ, I got a question for you. Kind of reflecting goals. When did you really kind of feel like it clicked for you? From a goal setting point of view, because I know for me it was like in high school. Everyone always says like, "Oh, I have these goals," but when did it really click and settle in? Where that journey to that goal really kind of clicked for you?
I got a story on this. It was
let's hear it.
My freshman year before the NCAAs. That year we had Joey McKenna at the RTC, and I was going with him all the time, doing individuals pretty much every week, multiple times a week. And we're at our last, we had just got back from conferences. I qualified for NCAAs, whatever. We're about to leave. And we're doing this last individual. And he gets me kind of like a little care package, a bag with some gear. And in he got me some shoes. And in the shoes, it had a note on it. And it was like, CJ, it's been great training with you, coaching you, just from seeing your development. I think you have what it takes to be an All-American. And before that note, I read the note. I was like, oh, me, All-American? Like, what do you mean? I didn't think that was possible. And then, or not, I didn't think it was possible, but I just didn't I didn't think too much about it. Like, I didn't have that as my goal. And then once Joey said, like, I believe in you to All-American, I was like, wait, maybe I should have that as my goal. And then kind of going into the tournament, that gave me that belief where like I was like, I'm gonna get on the podium, and Joey believed in me, and then I started to believe in myself. And so yeah, I would say kind of he gave me that encouragement that kind of woke me up to again. I wasn't aiming smaller. I think it was more just I wasn't thinking about that type of stuff until he was like, "You can do this." I was like, "Oh, wait, I guess maybe I can." So shout out to Joey for that inspiration. Now I try to kind of encourage the younger guys anytime I can because sometimes it takes someone to believe in you first, and then you're able to really believe in yourself, or you're really kind of opened your eyes to what's possible. I'd say. So.
How important, CJ, was that to know that you had that support coming from someone?
Oh, it was great. It was so great. And now since Joey's left, we still have great role models that I think it's always like wrestling at Penn. I always just kind of tried to copy. I was like, who do I want to be like? And then just kind of copy whatever they do. So it started out
Mhm.
really as Joey, and then we brought in other guys like Tyler Berger, Dave McFadden, Darian Cruz, who's here now. Like, just kind of these guys are doing they're a little older than me. They're doing what I want to be doing when I'm that age. So I'm gonna just kind of follow whatever they're doing and kind of copy them, and now take a bunch of little things from a whole bunch of people, and yeah, it's good to learn from people.
It's kind of that lead by example mentality. You know, you're seeing somebody else, and then now you're becoming that person for the younger generation.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, almost. Yeah, it's a good thing to copy sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. I spent a lot of time with you guys at UPenn. You know, training in the summers at RTC. And Joey McKenna was a great guy. I used to go with him to the OTC out in
Oh
Colorado
yeah,
Springs. So I spent some time out there with them. So
yeah,
yeah, all really great guys.
yeah. Joey's the man.
And I think CJ touches on something that went back to episode 49 with Dan Hilt,
Hmm.
was when we were having that conversation about the Penn State wrestling room and the types of guys that were in there and who you were associating yourself with. I have to imagine, CJ, being around guys of that caliber and talent has to be just inspiring to you because it pushes you to work harder.
Yeah, 100%. Stick with the winners long enough, you might just become one. So we're really trying to. I think a lot of the top program you kind of mentioned Penn State, and I think we're looking at a lot of the top programs and how can we kind of replicate some of that success or create it here. And we're just noticing that these top teams that just have a lot of support staff. They got the 4 coaches on staff, and then their DOPS is getting on the mat. Their recruiting coordinators getting on the mat. Their video coordinator, like just a lot of high level training partners that maybe aren't focused on their own competitive career still, but they're still in great shape, great wrestling, and they're really able to pour into you. Like, pause. I'm sure you know it's different when you go with a coach who's just helping you versus when you're going with someone else who's trying to bang and they're still competing. It's just different. So yeah, we kind of joking around with our coaches like we want 10 coaches in our room. So every guy on the team has his own personal coach cuz it's just I know from my experience when I wrestle with a coach who's you know there to serve me, it's I get so much better just in one practice. So yeah, I really think the people you have around your program is super important. Quality, but also just the quantity. You want a lot of guys, so everyone's kind of taken care of.
So, CJ, if people are looking at your body of work and just think that working hard is the only thing you do, what part are they missing?
I think just going back to what we were talking about before with the self belief, um, working hard and discipline is I think what fuels that belief. But if you're just disciplined and working hard and it's not fueling your belief, you gotta remember why you're living the lifestyle, why you're working hard. It's to give you confidence. JB would say you can't diet your way into a world title, or you can't journal your way into a world title. And like all those little habits add up and are gonna maybe help you believe that you can win a world title, but just doing those things alone, it's not really good for anything. So you got to make sure your habits and your lifestyle are giving you confidence. And so I think that's a challenge a lot of times with I notice myself, my teammates, wrestlers, it's like we just work hard, but you gotta like be proud of yourself and the hard work. Be like, I am working hard. Like I do deserve to win. I deserve to be here. I do deserve to accomplish my goals. As opposed to, I think a lot of wrestlers can just be down on themselves. Like I need to work harder. I need to work harder. It's like, yeah, you need to work harder, but you got to be proud of the work you put in and really allow that to fuel you. I think.
So you're kind of tapping in a little bit to the mental mindset, and that leads us to our first listener's question coming from Cooper. Your senior year in high school, if we go back a little bit, you had to deal with a setback. Unfortunately, you were dealing with an ACL injury, and you were projected to do rather well that season. So can you talk a little bit about how you had to, one, deal with it, how you overcame it, and then moving forward, do you think the injury helped shape you mentally and as a person moving forward into your collegiate career?
Oh, 100%. I'm not glad that I got injured by any means, but
Right.
looking back on it, I wouldn't change a thing because going into that season, like you mentioned, maybe I was projected to do well, and I think I got third. I got third place my junior year. So kind of going into senior year, it's like, oh, all right. The obvious thing is state champ. We gotta be state champ. And so that was kind of my goal. But then as the season got closer, I was just finding maybe something would have clicked as the season went on, but kind of in the preseason, I was starting to notice like I had this goal to be state champ, but I didn't necessarily believe I was gonna do it, and like that caused so much stress and anxiety. I don't know, just like stress of I have this goal, but I don't believe I'm going to achieve the goal. So it kind of makes this like existential. Well, why am I like training? So what's the point of this if I'm not even going to get what I want? And so I was really stressed my senior year about that, of just the thought of going through that season and not getting the state title. So then when I got injured and it got kind of taken away from me, I was almost relieved in a way of it reinforced my love for wrestling, because I was like, wait, now I'm not getting the state title and I don't even really care. I'm just excited to, get back wrestling as soon as I can. But yeah, I was just super stressed about that whole year. And, it would have been a great year to wrestle that year and go through that adversity, that stress, and kind of, the fight with your mind. But yeah, that injury almost saved me in a way from all that stress I was going through. And yeah, it was a tough time for sure. But the injury kind of settled me down a little bit, slowed me down. It was like, dude, stop being so stressed all the time. So yeah.
So you say the injury saved you. Had that injury not occurred, and obviously no one wants to ever get hurt, but had that injury occurred, do you think your collegiate career may have gone a different way?
Had the injury not occurred?
Right. So let's say you had
Oh
a healthy
yeah.
season. Do you think that maybe it would have went differently?
Oh yeah. I think 100. It definitely would have went differently. Maybe it would have went better. Maybe it would have went worse. But yeah, I believe everything you do, or even just every conversation you have, every interaction you have, that changes everything. So yeah, we'll never know. We'll never know. But
No, we won't.
I
But at
it would have changed it for sure.
it kind of puts some things into perspective also, I would imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I had to deal with injury in college too, which that was tough as well, because so the one in high school kind of came at a time where I was burnt out, not in the best place mentally, and almost honestly relieved when I got injured. I was like, thank goodness I don't got to worry about winning the state title that I don't think I'm going to win. But the one in college was different because I was kind of coming off of my freshman year, out did better than I thought I was going to do, was loving wrestling, was looking forward to wrestling freestyle, was just in a really good place, and then got injured. And I was like, oh, I didn't want to get injured. Like the first time was more of a, relief. And then this one in college, same, I got knee surgery on the other knee. I was like, I'm kind of loving wrestling right now. I don't want to stop. So yeah, it's funny how it just kind of different times injuries will affect you differently.
It's an interesting dynamic hearing him describe both injuries, and one was a relief and one was like, I wish this wasn't happening.
Yeah. Pa, you ever been there like with the bad? It's not a good way to think, but sometimes you're just in a bad place and you're like, I hope I get injured, and you got to get out of that mindset. But I'm curious if you ever.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've had the same thing you just said. One being a good, one being bad. But either way, we don't want to be injured. But it happens, especially in our sport. It's a mental game, some more than a physical game sometimes, and sometimes the physical will help you or hurt you. So
100%. Yeah, it's weird when you catch your like. You're like, wait, why do I want to get hurt right now? Like it's so weird, but yeah, crazy.
It's yeah, rough for sure. So kind of following off of that, what was like your first welcome to Division I wrestling moment? I know I've had mine. A lot of us, have had that moment where like, oh, this is the difference between high school and college. This is the big leagues. What was that moment for you?
I would say probably my first tournament. we host a tournament, Keystone Classic, and in high school, you kind of you, when you look at the guy's name, you probably if you don't recognize the name, you're like, all right, I'm gonna beat him. If you know who he is, you're like, all right, this is gonna be a good match. And I'm at the Keystone Classic, and I didn't know the guy's name who I was wrestling. I never heard of him, and then he went out and beat me. And he's a good wrestler, obviously, but it was just like that kind of like, oh wait, everyone's here good just because I don't know their name or I didn't grow up wrestling with them. They're still pretty good. So that was the moment where I was like, there's not like wrestling Jersey public school. Sometimes you get some. There's not a you'll have an off match sometimes, or you'll go weeks
Mhm.
without really facing a tough match. So then in college, I was like, oh shoot, every match is gonna require my 100%. That's tough, but
Yeah.
I love it. So
So a
I like
question
it.
that we do like to ask, and you kind of just led us right into it, is you have athletes in high school who are at the top of their game, regardless of sport, but we'll stick to the wrestling side of it. You're the top guy in high school. Now you go to college and everyone's on your level or better. How did you handle that transition?
Uh, good question. I think it goes back to I was trying not back to the RTC athletes. I was trying not to compare myself to my teammates. Where you said like everyone's on the same level. I didn't. I saw it. I was way behind. I was looking at my first Joey McKenna, Ethan Lezak. Those are the guys that were here when I first got to Penn, and I was like, I'm way behind. These guys were national finalists. They beat me up in the room like crazy. So that kind of motivated me to like get a lot better, as opposed to I didn't come in thinking, oh yeah, I'm just as good as these guys. I'm liking where I'm at. I'm like, yo, I need to get better. So I think yeah, always looking for those guys. Like I said before, just looking for guys that are doing what you want to be doing at a higher level and just kind of following their actions, their life, and yeah, that's what I would say.
So another question. What do you think the biggest gap is between being top 8 on that podium at the national tournament or just being a qualifier or just, a regular college wrestler? What do you think is that main separator between getting on that podium and not? Because, like we were talking about before, goals. A lot of college wrestlers' goals is to be an All-American, be a national champ. And it's very hard to do. What do you think in your perspective is that deciding factor?
You gotta have that dog. Nah, nah.
I like that
I
answer.
think well, I think now it's a little cliche, have that dog in you, but I really do think it's just you just gotta really I don't know. It's tough because you don't want to base your worth or identity on a result, but you almost need to have a feeling of like I need this. But then also in the back of your mind, life's gonna be good even if I don't get this. But I don't know. So it's difficult to explain it maybe, but it's like you need to have this I need this, but also understand that it's not life or death. So it's tricky. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I agree. I feel like you could run through the NCAA tournament, 18 different times, same brackets, same way, and you might get a different result every single time. I think sometimes who's healthiest that weekend, I do agree. I need this. I need to get on that podium. I
Yeah.
need that, and having that dog in you too. I think that's a very good statement as well. Separating factor. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the self-belief and the visualization, like, yeah, just you gotta need it. Yeah.
A term that we've heard here before was having a little bit of insanity in you.
Yeah.
Um, so do you think maybe that applies a little bit, CJ? You kind of have to be a little crazy to want to go out there
Oh,
and do this.
yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. We were talking with some of my teammates and Pause, Moogs, Evan McGallion?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we're all talking and someone's mentioned how they're like, yeah, I think I'm a little like messed up in the head and like Moogs is like, yeah, we're all Ivy League wrestlers. I think we're all a little bit messed up in the head. And it's like in the best way. But he was just kind of saying like, yeah, I mean, I think everyone is unique regardless of it. But I think, to get to a high level in any sport, you're definitely a couple screws loose, a couple screws pretty tight. It's just, yeah, we're all a little messed up. But that's everyone in life, no matter if you're a high level athlete or or not. Everyone's got their own struggles and things like that. So
I'm a
we're
big
just out
believer
here.
that the best of the best are a little crazy.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but yeah, I think everyone's a little crazy too, though. Honestly, I think some people hide it or whatnot, but and the best are more open about it, and you'll see how they're crazy. But I think everyone's got a little crazy in them that sometimes they just suppress or don't really express. But yeah, I think I think a lot of people, it's almost natural to like want to be the best in something or to just want to be the best in whatever you're doing in your life. But some people, it's just you can't give yourself that permission to really go for it. So yeah, I think the people that are the best and achieve the highest in whatever field they're in, it's because they are willing to, that crazy side of their mind, they're willing to kind of feed into it and really full send it for their goals, which I love seeing people that are achieving great things. It's really inspiring.
So if we stay there for a moment, you're in the blood round, you win, you're on the podium, you lose, you finish, I think, was it tied for 12th, I think is what the number is there. When you're stepping out onto the mat in that match, knowing that a victory gets you on the podium, can you talk us through that a little bit? What you're thinking about and how you're feeling?
Yeah, this past season.
Sure, you can go with this
Yeah,
past year.
I I just didn't even think about it. Was there was no way I was. It's easy to say now after the match, but there was just kind of no way I was gonna lose. That's just how when I went out there and was warming up, I just couldn't even. I couldn't even really picture in my mind a scenario of me losing, and I was just constantly playing back in my head, visualizing defending his shots and then getting to my shots, defending. So in my head, I just kept. I'm getting to his legs. He never got to my legs, so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna win this match. And yeah, just really confident, and yeah, that's how I kind of went going into it this past year.
I can say I watched that match, and you definitely were wrestling with a level of confidence that, nothing against your opponent, but you, to me, looked like you wanted it more, and you certainly went out there and got the victory.
I appreciate it. That's cool. Thank you.
I think that kind of circles back to what we were just talking about. Who wants it more? I think, getting on that podium, it's sometimes it's like who can go that extra little bit, or who can, flip that switch a little bit more in that moment to get on that podium. I think that circles back to what we were just discussing before.
Yeah, I agree.
Another question: how do you balance, the level of the rest of your life, but then your wrestling life? How do you work with, having a good balance?
Balance? Who said balance? Nah, I don't know. It's tough, but yeah, it's pretty tough. But that's something I'm actually trying to kind of work on now. Just after college season's over, and like the first thought I had after NCAA's, my first 3 years was like, all right, the next day it's like, all right, I got to win this next year. I got to win. Just kind of 24/7. That I heard I was listening to Johnny. No, not Johnny. No, Dylan Palacio. Dylan Palacio was giving an interview, and he was talking about just kind of the drive to be better and competing. It's almost you go through life with this like you when you got to clean your room, kind of in the back of your head, you're like, oh, I should clean my room today. I got to clean my room. And he related that back to kind of trying to be great and achieve things where everything in your life that you're doing, it's kind of you have this little intuition or thing in your mind that's like, is this getting you close to your goals? Is this getting you close to your goals? You should be doing this. You should be doing that. And it can be paralyzing in a way, but when you're really clicking and you're doing all the right things, it's the opposite. It's kind of feeding you because then you're like, I am doing the right things. I do deserve it. But if you're not, then that's when you start getting into that stressful place of, well, I say I want this and I want to achieve all this stuff, but I'm living my life in this way. Now I don't believe I'm going to achieve this stuff. And, yeah, I'm not. Wait, I'm not. I don't even remember what the original question was, but
Okay.
yeah, um, just kind of like going through. Oh yeah, the balance. Yeah, there's not much balance. There's not much balance. Like just kind of going through life, always thinking, how can I get better? What should I be doing to become a better wrestler? And yeah, that's really just This is my 6th year at Penn now, and being here 6 years is just kind of every day of thinking, how can I become a better wrestler today? How can I spread positivity in the world today? And just every day trying to do that really, and then it kind of builds over time.
When you look back on your collegiate career, was there anything that you did that you felt stood out from competitors that got you to the level you found yourself at?
Um, yeah, I think asking your mentors, your role models for help, and really cultivating those relationship. I think that's something I've tried to do a good job, and I think I have done a good job about it. I think when there's all these great role models on that are kind of here to serve the I could speak just really on the Penn team, or sorry, they're here to serve the Penn team, and like we have so many guys on the team, and there's maybe a few senior level athletes. They're great guys, but they're not necessarily. They can't just text all 40 guys, "Hey, how you doing? You want to get coffee today? You want to get lunch after?" They can't get lunch with 40 guys. There's only one lunch. So I think you got to be the person that's advocating for yourself and pursuing those types of relationships. And so that's always something I've tried to do, is just learn from the guys that have already done what I want to do. And it's a shame when I see some of my teammates not putting effort into those relationships, and they think a world champ is just gonna text them to go over technique one afternoon. You gotta you gotta imagine, if we're college athletes now, think about high schoolers, or if you got high schoolers coming into your room to train with the RTC, you're probably not gonna ask some random high schooler you don't know to wrestle a live go. But if that high schooler kind of gets in your face and it's like, let's wrestle a live go, it's like, yo, I'd love to help. I'd love to help you. Most people love to help other people, but you just gotta ask them to help you, and they'll probably be super, super happy to help. So, yeah, I think being coachable and really pursuing relationships with mentors and role models has been super beneficial to my wrestling and life.
Yeah. Um, Next question. Something new into the world of college sports nowadays. NIL. What is your
I,
yeah? What is isn't Ivy? They don't do the NIL kind of thing, or
well, Penn doesn't do it. I don't think many of the other Ivies do it either. But I don't think there's any rule against it in the Ivies. I think it's just each program's kind of choice.
Mhm. I guess
I'm
my
not sure.
question here is like, what is your perspective on this in the college sports as a whole?
Yeah, interesting question. I think before I'll get into my thoughts on it, I was listening to Willie Saylor,
Hmm.
or okay, so he was saying, and I hope I'm getting it right, but if you took the number one guy at each weight in the portal this year, right? So the top guy at 125, top guy at 133 in the portal, that team projects to get second place at NCAAs next year. That was crazy to me. So that'd be like me and you. We could really just pool it. And this, we're not going to do this. It's not realistic. But if we wanted to be like, let's get second place next year, we could do it with $5 million, and it's just kind of not a guarantee you get second. That's just the projections. But it's just crazy to me how it's. Yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. When I heard that, I was like, wow. So if some guy had a ton of, if he just had infinite money and he really wanted to get second place in NCAAs next year, he could make that happen with his money. So yeah, it's I think it's great for the sport. It's elevating the level of wrestling. I think just there's more money in it, more opportunity, so it's gonna make it more competitive. You're able to hire more people to make your wrestlers better, things like that. But certainly, it's taking away from the student athlete experience of it, where you're going to class, you're going to school, all that. So I'm not. I don't have a strong opinion on if it's good or bad. I think it's raising the level of wrestling, which is cool to see. But I think it's taking away from the student athlete experience, which is not as good to see. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'm interested to see what happens.
So, CJ, do you think what the NIL and what it's doing across the board in all sports, loyalty doesn't seem to be there like it once was? Do you think the athletes are
Mm.
focusing on the wrong things?
Ah, I think I kind of want to push back a little, because the loyalty aspect, where people are, athletes are hitting the transfer portal, they're leaving for more money and loyalty. But I think you could prevent those guys from leaving if you just take care of your guys.
Right.
And
Hmm.
maybe all right, if it's a smaller school that doesn't have resources and a kid leaves, that does kind of suck, I guess.
Mhm.
But if you're losing a kid to the portal because he's getting paid somewhere, well, it's maybe you should. If someone's willing to pay that guy that amount of money, well, maybe you should be willing to pay that guy that amount of money too, and then he wouldn't have left. So that's something. Again, Penn doesn't necessarily do it, so I'm not too knowledgeable on it. But I'm always curious about the big programs that are bringing guys from the portal, and you just hear the rumors they're getting paid this. I'm always curious of, well, what about the guy that committed to this school and has been there? Like, he better be getting paid too. That's what I always think, and I hope they are. I'm not sure how that works, but because then it's, why would you even commit to a school? You're better off going to a small school, all American your freshman year, and then transferring, because then you'll get paid,
Right.
as opposed to just committing to the school from the start, and maybe they don't pay you. But yeah, you pause.
It's
What
an
about
interesting take.
you? Pause. You know about, like, do you have any thoughts on that, or like, you think teams are kind of rewarding their guys that committed there, or you think you're almost incentivized to transfer because you get paid more that way?
I mean, I know when you and I were coming into college, that wasn't a thing yet. NIL,
Nah.
it was the best you can get was a full ride to college. That was, you signed the paper, and that was the best you can get. But nowadays, I'm a big loyalty guy, and I feel like if you go to one school for 1 year, then you transfer to 3 other schools within your 4 years. To me, I don't know. I feel like you can't build a good relationship with your coaches and your team if you're just jumping from one to the next to the next. To me, I don't know, but it's elevating the sport, like you said, but
Yeah.
there's pros and cons to it as well.
Well, and I don't think you can fault, to be fair, an athlete if if a booster is throwing money at an athlete. I mean, you guys at 19, 20, 21, 22 are seeing money being thrown at you that professional athletes are getting as
Yeah.
their base salaries today.
Mhm.
So at the moment, there's no there's no Major League Baseball type of a league
Yeah.
for wrestlers outside of the RAF. Is that Real American?
It's growing.
And it's growing, and maybe down the line there will be something like that for you guys. So NIL certainly did not exist during my day when I was playing collegiate baseball, because if you got paid, you were basically being thrown out of school. It was illegal at that time. So I see both sides of it, because if a guy can get paid and potentially it helps set up his or her family, I can't argue with them for doing that.
Correct.
But you watch these guys that are now on their 4th team in 5 years, and it's
wild.
like, it's literally free agency at the collegiate level to what we're seeing in professional sports. So it's interesting, because for me, it didn't exist when I played. But you guys who are like in it and still a part of it, I was just curious to hear your opinions.
Well, I think, Harry, what you were saying about not being a professional league in wrestling, that might also increase the amount of people hitting the portal, because they think, well, I only got a few years to make money in this wrestling thing, so I
Right.
got to do it now. And so, yeah, that's why I think it's great that there's opportunities to make money now after college. But the interesting part too, with there not being a pro league is, or a big professional league, is that you got guys making a ton of money in NIL at maybe a bigger school, and then they want to do freestyle senior level athlete training, and then, like, they're getting paid less. So they're getting paid more to be a college wrestler than they are to pursue world and Olympic titles, which is just, I wish that wasn't how it is, but NCAA is kind of the pinnacle in a way. That's what gets the most revenue, the most fans, and yeah.
Well, it's a topic that I don't think is going away anytime soon. Especially now, I believe there's a ruling coming up shortly on, you guys are only going to have 5 years to compete, to complete 4 years of eligibility, and some of this 6 and 7 year stuff is going to be going out the window. Now, and in some of your cases, I know COVID played a role in that.
Yeah.
But it's actually, there is a vote coming up pretty soon. The NCAA is actually going to be discussing it shortly, that you may only have 5 years to finish 4, and if you get hurt or redshirted or anything of that nature, it's going to count against your eligibility.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be raising some questions. So CJ, second viewer question, and it's I won't give away his full name, but when I say his first name, you'll know who it's from. It's from Lou, and he wanted me to ask this question for you, but also for both of you. You both went to public high schools, and I know the tagline at Westfield has always been "Stay public." With a lot of athletes feeling they have to go private, and listen, no knock against them, they got to do what they feel is best for them. But what are your thoughts on the public versus private issue with high school today?
Pause. You want to go first?
All you.
All right. Well, yeah, I've thought about this a lot, and when I was in high school, I think I championed the kind of stay public a lot more. But now reflecting on it, in a way, I was very lucky to have great coaches at my public school, great friends outside of the wrestling team that were going to my public school, great friends on the wrestling team that were going to the public school. So it was I didn't even look at going private as would give me an event. I thought the public was the best place for me to achieve my goals. And so I was very lucky in that way. But I can't imagine if I was in a different position and I wasn't at a there was the school I was gonna go to didn't have great coaching, didn't have great support from the athletic director, or there weren't great partners. Maybe it would have been different. So I don't know, but I think that's why to if we want to, I definitely still like the public schools, obviously, and if we want to keep the public schools going strong, it really does start at the youth level, because the guys that I wrestled with on my high school team, we were wrestling since first grade together on the PAL team and things like that. And so you get a good core group of guys, maybe 4 to 6 guys that are kind of come up through first grade, and then you'll get a couple of random kids that just sign up freshman year that turn out to be good by the time they're a senior, and then you got a pretty good public school team. So I think it all starts at building those relationships at the youth level, so that way you don't want to leave because you've built such awesome friendships with your guys, and you want to stay with them. So it was easy for me to stay public. So it's hard for me to kind of put myself in the position of someone who might not have had as good a situation as me. But
I 100% agree. It was I never really had the question of going to a private school. I always knew I wanted to stay with my friends, and I always wanted to stay in my hometown and make history too. We never had we had one state champ back in 19. It was like a long time ago, Joe Drana. But we never had a state champion, and I wanted to make history and stay in school with my friends and stay public. So.
I
yeah.
also think too, it's where you're from, right? So the nature of my work out of Garwood, which is in Union County, you've got Cranford, ALJ, and Clark, Westfield, Scotch Plains. There is an enormous amount of talent that goes to those schools, and those are just 4 towns within 5 miles of each other. There's a ton of talent in the state of New Jersey that people don't really realize, and if they all stayed home, I think a lot of the New Jersey schools would be amazing when it comes to collegiate sports, and that's just my own opinion. But I'm interested to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, and I think it's way more than just about your results and what you achieve. Kind of like what me and Paz are talking about. The main reason we stayed at our school is just because of the friendships we had with our guys and the camaraderie of the team. And I think I wouldn't trade my relationships with my high school teammates for a state title or for an All-American. Like, those are way more important to me than any results. So yeah, even if going private can get you better results, you think you got to weigh that against, well, what would I really, what's better, some dope friends or a couple state medals? It's like you can't really compare those things. So that's something to think about. That's something to think about too for guys considering.
Absolutely. And I do think in some cases, if you make the decision to go private, you could be third string on a particular team and not get playing time till your junior year. Whereas at the public school, if you're good enough, you're getting those reps in, which I believe are very important right from day one.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think being the guys is good because you're getting those reps, but also fighting for the spot can help you, push you to be better. I know I had to wrestle off my freshman year in high school, and that really pushed me to be better. So yeah, I definitely think there's both. you can make it work anywhere, but it's just kind of about what you want out of what do you want to get out of the sport, you know? And for me, that was always relationships and friendships. So
I
we
think
had to
it's all
stay
about
public.
perspective too. Kind of seeing what's your perspective on being in public school or being in private school. What do you think A, B, and C and D can make you better here or there? We both went public school. We did it at the highest level. Um, it's everyone has their own path. So
Hey, we both
Well,
went public school and no portal.
agreed.
yes,
Stay public, no portal. That's the new tagline.
Yep.
that's the new T-shirt, CJ.
Stay
Stay
public, no
public, no
portal.
portal. Come on now.
Good, Harry.
So was there a point in your wrestling career when you took a step back and just realized, hey, this was really all working for me?
No, not really. It's kind of just a day by day thing, and it's hard to when I look back maybe years and years, I could see the progress that I made, but and maybe there are some practices where you figure something out, but no, it's just kind of been a day by day type of just getting a little bit better every day, and you do it for close to 20 years, you'll get a lot better. That's with anything. So yeah, maybe there are some moments, you score on a guy in live that you haven't scored on. I've had a few moments like that. Um, Still waiting to score on cross, but yeah. So no, but it's really just kind of. I don't remember any crazy big jumps I made. Just a little bit better, and every day.
So piggybacking off of that, was there anything in your daily routine that if someone was to look at it, bigger picture, that might surprise them?
Um, I don't know. I mean, probably. I don't know what people would think my daily routine is, but I think it's definitely you're not perfect all the time by any means. You try to be perfect, but it's not about being perfect, but it's more about like how quickly can you recover from your mistakes. So you're just going throughout your day, and maybe you have a negative interaction kind of in the afternoon. Like, are you gonna let that ruin the rest of your day, ruin your night, or are you gonna then have a good rest of the day? Like, you had a bad class and then you got to go to practice after. Are you gonna let that bad class make it into a bad practice, or are you gonna respond quickly? So yeah, habits are super important and stuff, but I think it's almost more about reducing bad habits than creating good habits. I think a lot of people got good habits. You know, it's kind of intuitive. You know what you should be doing, but it's more about making sure you're saying no to things you should say no to, and things like that. And if you do, slip up and you make bad decisions, how quickly can you get back onto the right path? So
Mhm.
yeah, that's what I'd say.
So coming to an end here on our historic episode 50, what is
50.
next for CJ?
Next, graduation. Graduation May 17th. Been looking forward to this day for a while. Mom just let me know we're going to Capitol Grill the day before, so really looking forward to that. But yeah, I remember going to my older brother, he went to Pitt. I remember going to his graduation. It was cool to just kind of be there with the whole family. Everyone gets together. So yeah, I'm looking forward to just being with my family and kind of celebrating, college graduation. We made it. Finally.
There you go.
So, yeah.
What is next for like how do you want to keep competing or you look to get a
Oh
job?
yeah.
What's next for that?
Job? Nah. No, we kind of joke with some of my teammates like unemployment final boss. That's the plan, and just really, it's crazy to think that I could just travel the world, wrestle, compete, make great relationships, win medals, and that's really just the plan. Travel the world, doing what I love, and try to win. RAF would be great too. I'm actually going next weekend to be Darian's training partner there, but yeah, the plan is to keep wrestling with the PRTC and keep just creating great friendships, great relationships, and win some medals. That's really and travel the world. That's really my plan for next. So I'm going to Mongolia coming up with my teammate Cross and some of the coaches. So yeah. One of our RTC guys, his name is Edwin. He has this thing. He said, "I'm trying to get my passport tatted up," and so that's the plan. but we gotta win some gold medals too along the way.
So CJ, final question. You walk back into that room at Westfield, you're at the PAL. What advice are you giving those young kids when they say to you, hey, you know, what do I have to do to get to the level you achieved? Like, how are you answering that question?
That's a common question. People definitely want to know. And I would tell them, just keep asking that question every day. And there's really no secret. There's not one piece of advice I could tell you. It's just day by day. And if you're waking, so you said a kid asks you, how do I get better? You know, if you're waking up every day, looking at yourself in the mirror saying, how can I get better today? And you do that every day for a long time, like, you're going to get better eventually. So I think just encouraging those kids to keep asking those questions. There's no secret. There's no real answer to that question. It's just, you got to make sure you're trying to get better every day. And yeah, like Jake Paul said, it's every day, bro. That's really all there is to it.
Well, CJ, we really want to thank you very much for taking time out of your day to be a part of Destination Talk. This has been a pretty good journey for us up to this point. We didn't think 50 was even attainable. Then we're crossing that threshold here. You know, continued success. Thank you once again. And if I may just take a quick moment, you know, it's been one heck of a ride here with us. So, you know, we don't get here without us doing the work we're doing. I appreciate everything you've done, John, in making this a great program. Dave, our producer, Hope, to all of our viewers and listeners. We're at 50. We got a lot of big plans ahead. We plan on at least another 50 more. And we're just, again, thrilled to have had you on today, CJ, for this historic episode for us. All the best, continued success. Congratulations on the upcoming graduation. Stay healthy, and we'll be following your career as you go into post-collegiate wrestling. And we thank you again.
I appreciate it. I enjoyed talking with you guys. And you said 50 more. Let's 1,000 more. Episode 1,000.
That would be historic for sure.
Hey, if we get to there, hopefully we're doing something else too with this.
No, it's cool though. I appreciate it. I love kind of watching content and listening to podcasts and things like that. So I appreciate what you guys are doing. It's dope.
No, thank you. We appreciate it as well. And I guess I do want to just throw out a huge thank you to Big Lou. He helped facilitate this. We appreciate your kindness and wanting to jump on here and being a part of it. And with that being said, folks, episode 50 is in the books. And until we see you next time.
Mile 21 Media.